Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Powered by Music, where we talk about everything music. We are joined by a very special guest today. His name is Charlie, and he is from the local band Via Linda.
Oh,
Charlie, thank you so much for joining us, man.
thanks for having me. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, guys. So just giving a backstory on how me and Charlie met. I went to his concert, and it was like what, like a few years
A few
ago,
years back.
few years back. Yeah, I went to one of their gigs, and I fell in love with their music. Their style was great, the energy was there. Everybody was super hyped up, and so yeah, I wanted to bring you in and get this thing going with you.
Well, I appreciate you for having me, man. I really do.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But yeah, Charlie, just to kick things off, how's the day going? Everything's been going all
It's a
right?
beautiful day. It's nice and cool here in Houston for a change.
Yes.
I keep thinking about all the people who planned on going to the spring break stuff and
Yeah.
into the rodeo, and they thought it was gonna be a nice and warm day, and it's
Yeah, yeah.
ice cold outside right now. So
Yeah. Have you I'm assuming you've been to the rodeo
I went to
before.
the rodeo last week, literally on
Mm.
Sunday on the hottest day. It was like 86 degrees. I was there for 2 hours and then it was over, man. I cut it, and then cold front came in that night and it was 50 degrees about 3 hours after I left.
Dang. Did you see it? Like were you there for a concert or were you just
No,
walking
I
around?
I always go for the animals. I just go look around and
Man,
just to get part of the festivities.
nice.
Yeah, concerts are kind of late. I don't like the traffic. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
understand. I've only been to the rodeo once, and I only have been there for a concert.
Oh yeah.
Never done the walk around
Oh,
thing.
it's a whole different experience. It's
Uh,
I mean, we go. I have a kid, so we go. Well, petting zoos, and we just go look. Pretty much, we just go inside the. There's a center where they have all the livestock. We're just sitting there, and you're just walking around looking at animals, and really up close and personal, without really having any gates. And we went to the zoo 2 days before, and
oh
there's
man.
definitely a separation. And like
Yeah.
when you go to the rodeo, I mean, you're hey. My wife got in trouble for touching one of the animals.
Oh, what?
The cow walked by and she just grabbed on the lady. Was like, "Don't touch the animals."
Oh,
My wife's like, "I couldn't help it."
yeah,
It's like,
it's a
"Babe,
cow.
what are you doing, babe?" I was like, "Come on, you gotta hold it in."
I love it. I love it, man. I love it. Well, that's a good vibe, man.
Yeah,
That sounds really chill. Yeah, I definitely want to check out the walking around aspect of the road. I hear it's a whole
it
different.
is definitely. It's not that. It's. I mean, like I said, like it's a concert. You're just going there for the show.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you can
yeah.
walk around, it's a fair too. Also, you can go
Nice.
rides and very expensive rides.
Yeah, I'm
Very,
sure. I'm
very,
sure.
very expensive rides. That's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Charlie, yeah, just to take a deep dive into everything, for those who don't know who Via Linda is, can you describe that to us?
We're just a rock band from Houston now. We didn't really like having limits on our music, or don't really like having limits on the stuff we do. So if you do listen to us or just run into us, you'll kind of see in our playlist it's a lot of different styles. I mean, revolves around rock, but I was always the big guy about let's make sure that we just make good music and not worry about what we're trying to do or what it is that we're trying to sound like. I'm like, no, if it's, I mean, I want to write a whole bunch of songs. Um, you grew up listening, all of us grew up listening to various artists from different backgrounds,
Mm.
and I understand that we're in a rock band because we all have all the instruments to be in a rock band. But if you listen to us, or it's very 80s and 90s and alternative, and then I guess there's little metal influences, but I don't.
Yeah,
But it's hard for me to see that because I'm not really a big metal guy.
sure, sure.
But I guess I can see it because it's distortion and riffs, and
Yeah,
but I'm a big funk guy, so I've always listened to
love it.
'70s disco stuff. So anytime you'll hear or a lot of '80s dance too. So anytime you listen to our stuff, you'll hear a lot of those influences pushing their way through.
Yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
cool.
I definitely hear some electronic vibes.
Yeah, it's all me, man. I love doing that stuff. I had the guys are really cool. When it came, we were just when we would do music, we record it the way it was, and then one time I had this idea of just like, well, let's see if we can add keys on top of it. Everything's
Yeah,
on click, everything's good. So why don't we just? I have an idea, and then after that, it was like, oh, that's cool.
mm,
But that was more of an add-on. It was more of like afterwards, and then now there's more of like I might go in and do keys before I do anything else, and then
wow,
add on the music, which is kind of what we're doing now a little bit. I'm trying
love
to
that.
changing it up and makes you could do the same chords, but if you do it on a different instrument, it feels like a whole brand new thing for
Right, right,
yourself.
right.
So that's what I like about it the most, I guess.
That makes sense. Just changing the formula and how you're doing it. It could also build a lot more inspiration
Yeah.
into other songs and areas of what you guys haven't dove in yet.
Yeah, we haven't got to do too much stuff. So, especially in recording, and we always working on new music, and we're always testing stuff out at the at shows and stuff to see if it feels right.
Yeah.
We probably don't let things kind of play out the way we probably hurry through them. Like, no, we don't like the song after like 2 times, but sometimes it is what it is.
Yeah.
But for the most part, having new instruments, trying new stuff, for me especially, new ways to write.
Yeah.
It's always inspiring me, always helps me create. Always, it's just like having new flavors in your food, man. It's like having that little extra. Now you just put another idea out there for yourself for later.
I want to touch on that with the flavor aspect. Do you adjust the flavors based on what the audience that you perform likes?
No.
Okay.
So I go off of feel. Like, so most of the time I like to. It really comes down to how does it feel when you play it live. Like, does it feel? I mean, it might have been a cool song to hear, but when you play it live, it's at that tempo where you're like, this is awful, man. This is boring. But you play it too fast, it doesn't have maybe the pocket that you want to be in the same way. There's a lot of different things. So some stuff just doesn't feel right when you play it live.
Yeah.
And so no, it doesn't really matter. I mean, audience matters because obviously they come to see you play shows. You want to have good songs for them, but that also comes down to me, like, just believing that I can write. Like, I'm gonna write a good song, and if I believe in it, and if the guys all like it, then we're pretty much, like, oh, this is a pretty good song, and then we kind of take it. But
nice.
But until you play it a lot, and especially if you play it live, and especially if you're in the middle of like where you're the ups and downs of shows, you're trying to get up there, you can all the full on energy.
Right.
When you're doing all that stuff, I guess when you drop, when you have songs that don't always fit in with that, you can kind of tell. You're like, that song's cool. It just doesn't. It's an album song, but it's not a fun song to play live. And
Sure.
At the end of the day, we're all kind of like selfish in the fact that we just want to play songs that we like to play live, and that's what everybody gets to hear. So I guess that's why we have fun shows or whatever, because we actually enjoy playing the songs we do. Instead.
Very much so. Very much so.
But maybe when there's 3-hour sets, then if we ever make it or anything like that, we have to put a lot of fill. Maybe there'll be those nights where you're like, here we go. Let's go.
What's the turnaround like whenever you guys write a new song? How do you know that it's ready to play for an audience?
Well, we played together for 20 years already. Pretty young still, I guess, somewhat. In my 30s. And played for 20 years together. And so it takes a little bit of time, but it doesn't take as much time as it would have taken 10 years ago when we would have to practice it for months and months before we felt comfortable with it. And when we got back together a couple years ago after just a hiatus for a while, we would keep practicing things to make it perfect. But after a while, all that stuff clicked back together. So, I mean, the newest single that we're gonna come out with in a couple weeks, that song was written before we even played it together, and then we learned to play it together as we were writing it in the studio, because it felt so right and it felt so exciting to do a song like that. And something new, like as new as new could be, nothing.
Right.
And I always wanted to live that way. I always want to see what it was like to do that in the studio and see if you could handle something like that, where you're gonna go to the studio with an idea and you have the structure, but you don't know what you're gonna use. You don't know like what the drum sounds are gonna be. Or you don't know what the guitars. You don't know what kind of keys. Do you want to do it this way? Do it that way? It's just all the little. It's wide open, and so you just all go in there, and we have all these ideas and. We just keep going back, and it just kind of builds itself. But as long as you have a structure, it's pretty, it's kind of easy, to do stuff. But we've written, I'm not gonna lie, 400 or 500 songs since we've been together. So we just run through stuff, and I feel like we're a cover band of our own material sometimes because it feels like we know our stuff so well, I guess, and we go away from not playing for a month or so and get back together and. The first maybe 30 minutes is kind of
but then
it's right back into the groove of things.
Love it.
Yeah.
When did you guys first start Via Linda?
So Via Linda, that's kind of complicated a little bit just because our name changed. So we started out in 2002. The guitarist Steve, who's in the band still, and Pablo, the bass player, and myself and another fella. We all started a band. It was called Played Out. And then that was a high school kid name. And then, that was just a funny name. But we got a little older in early 20s. We had a different singer, and that we were starting to think of like what's an adult name, and so. But anyway, long story short, that's since 2002 we started. But we've formed the actual, if you want to call it, the Via Linda That was in 2007.
Hmm.
And we had our first show late 2007 as Via Linda. So
Gotcha.
15 years ago, I guess it would be 16 years ago. It's crazy.
Nice. Yeah, it is quite a while. Where did the name come from?
Oh man, so that was man. All these names, man. I'm cool with it now. I love our name now.
Yeah,
it's who we are. It's kind of like the street that you come from, kind of thing.
exactly.
That's what it
Right.
feels like. The place where you come. Like, but it was our previous singer. Thank God we had all these names. We had list, but we none of us ever agreed on any name that any of us picked. Not there wasn't two people that agreed on one name. And it just never. It's like everybody had their own better name. Like, no, I
Right.
mean that's cool, but mine. I mean, just think about it. And so it was more or less that. And so when we had a little basketball hoop in our room, and then Pablo actually won it the first time. It was like whoever made the shot, and the shot was like impossible because of the cheap 99-cent store loop that would shake, and so you had to literally make it with this little ball and across the room. And so it's pretty much perfect shot.
Yeah.
And so how we would do, we had a list, and every time you miss it, that was the name gone. So you were just going down your list.
Mm.
And so Pablo won the first name, and it was horrible. It's called Pulse Theory. And I was like, oh my God, it's so horrible to be called Pulse Theory. And so we looked it up on MySpace, and by the head, thanks to the heavens, somebody already had that name,
Yeah.
and it worked out in our favor.
Yeah.
And so we became, so anyways, our previous singer did that. He shot it, he got that name. But how he says it, it was just a street name that he lived, where he used to by, I guess where he lived by, but he would go luging
Yeah.
down a little X Games style stuff. It was like a steep hill, and they would go flying down it, I guess.
Right.
But he liked the name a lot, and it was just something that stuck in his head. And it's funny that he was the quote unquote white guy of the band. And he was
Nice.
he's from Kansas,
Oh,
and so everybody who sees us as the Hispanic guys that we are, they call us Via Linda.
oh, nice.
We never once have we been Via Linda. I never even saw it that way until someone was like, oh yeah, I guess we have that. I guess it kind of looks like we're Via Linda. I guess that's cool though. It's a crossover thing.
No, it is. It is. It's great.
It's like a name
great.
change, honestly.
So your first album, Peachy Cool Arrow.
Peachy Culero.
Tell me about that.
So first of all, like, I guess we can curse on here. Peachy Culero is just a funny Spanish word. It's pinche culero.
Yeah.
So that was just it was a funny joke within the band. And then seeing it spelled out that way, it's just a joke that they heard from somewhere. But seeing it spelled out, it just looked really cool. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it kind of fit who we are and who we were at the time, especially.
Yeah.
But it was like we were talking about this a little earlier. Um, we recorded in a 5-hour process and knocked out 3 songs. It was a cool little EP. It was fun. It was fun. When we got back together. It was a year after we got back together.
Mm.
It was fun just to have something like that was actually recorded at studio, not done by us, because we were like known for that. We spent a lot of time recording our own stuff throughout the years, and we were finally a lot older. We're like, let's just go to the studio, man.
Right.
And then we did that bad way of just trying to knock out stuff very quickly, which it came out very good. We did
Nice.
a very raw recording. To me, I'm always one who wants to add lots of different little elements and just to add just different things to the songs to make it bring out certain things. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it was cool for what it was. I really liked it. But that was a very good start for us, and I just can't believe like 5 years later, like the type of music that we're releasing from that
Yeah.
one EP now.
What
Sure.
was that recorded locally in Houston?
Yeah, I can't remember the studio name. I'm sure if Pablo sees this, he'll link it up.
Yeah.
I can't remember the studio name. It was one guy. It was just so for me. It was so long ago, and it's such a quick moment. Pablo's the music guy. He's the bass player, but he's the guy who he handles all of our money. So hey, he might end up screwing us one day. That studio could have been cheaper than what he said it was. But he might
Get a couple dollars.
yeah, but no, but he's the guy who knows. Like, he's one of the guys to our current producer who I'm in love with. His name is Kenny Gardner. He's from Murder on Tape Studios or Records. I can't say it,
Mm.
but no, he's so great. But he knows. He just goes and finds people. Does all of his research. He spent many years going to school for what he's for audio engineering. Pablo did, and so we had a lot of connections and just knows what sounds good, like
Yeah.
who does a good job and not. And so he always finds us the right people for the right moment. And so at that moment, it was like, this guy is really good. He's really quick. He can
Mm.
work on the fly. Like, he does all of his cuts as he goes. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there was a lot of things that us at the beginning with no money at first, like try to do something. But now we're getting, now the I mean, I'm not gonna go into detail, but
Yeah.
now we get little deals, and now we get to be in studio with the guy that we like can be with for 20 hours per song,
Nice.
and he likes the stuff we do, and that makes things a lot better when you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
that actually likes the stuff that you do.
100%, 100%. What's been your favorite Violinda song to make?
I'm not gonna lie. So, it's the song that we're. It's always this for me. If you ask me this next year, it'd be the song that I was coming out with then, like that time. It's always a new song for me. It's always the new stuff that um, I always want to make great songs. So I'm always excited for people to listen to them. We're always excited for people to listen to 'em, I should say. I guess because I'm here right now,
Yeah.
because I'm talking about myself. But if we were all here together, we would say we're all excited for people to listen to our music and discover us and find things that they like about us. And so it's all over the place. Like I said earlier about just we just sound like we're a lot of different types of music, but we sound like the same band over and over again.
Yeah.
Um, but like this new song, it's very I don't know if I've showed you. I mean, we talk a little bit sometimes,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I show him some music here and there. Um, but yeah, it's very 80s and 80s vibed, and it has a lot of keys and synths
Mm.
that lead the way, as opposed to we usually having keys in the background, like in the guitars and everything in the in the heart, and then the vocals are a lot softer sounding, and so it's very like a kind of weighing on my soul a little bit. I'm like, oh god,
Yeah.
this could go. This is not. This is totally different from me. I'm usually the, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but that's not who I always want to be, and
Sure.
it's not going to hold up forever. And eventually, I'm a happy kind of guy, so I'm not always angry on it,
Right.
and so I would like to have some soft songs there.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite gig to perform?
Um, it's hard too. We have a lot of fun gigs, a lot of gigs where um, meet a lot of people that that still help us out to this day, and so there's a lot of fun things. But I would have to say we opened for Puddle Mud a couple years ago,
Wow.
and just the whole experience of just getting onto that show a month before the show started, and um, it was a ticket based kind of show, so whoever
Mhm.
sold the most tickets. But we had people that we had to pretty much sell against who had been selling tickets for 6 months already,
Wow.
and so. And we sold the most tickets. We ended up coming in 1 month, and so
Whoa.
and it was like it was cut down to probably like the last couple of days. And so we worked and we worked and we worked to get all those tickets sold, and it paid off. Where we got to direct, and as a band and a lot of guys out there who do music, there's a lot of like times where you're almost. Oh, if we just do this, then we're right there, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Or oh, we got the perfect gig, but then it gets rained out. All these things happen, and so it's when things like that happen where you can get a direct support for a pretty big band that draws very well, especially in Houston. It was a very, very opportunity, like time for us because we probably played for about 300 people in a
Man.
small bit, not a small place, but not necessarily a big one. And
Right, right.
and we got it felt we got to say, "Are you guys ready for Puddle?" We got to do all
Oh,
this
man.
stuff, and
Nice.
it was really fun. And I think that was the most fun, just because we got to go on display for a lot of people who hadn't heard us, and
Yeah.
and the crowd was amazing, and it went,
Aw.
and I'm sure they were super happy and super spirited for a Puddle Mutt to come up, but I
Yeah.
mean, we'll take hey, they had a good time with us too.
I love
Yeah,
it. I love it.
yeah.
Um, I guess like what's the next thing? What's the next thing for Violinda?
So as far as this year, and I feel like we're a little behind, but we're actually right on target. My
Yeah.
whole goal this year is, well, first of all, we stopped doing EPs for the most part. We just wanted to kind of keep it, that EP thing. It's kind of like you have to clump things together. And you're like,
Sure.
I want these songs to sound like this, because then you don't want it to be all over the place. And so we're like, let's just release singles. Let's just call them singles, and then maybe if it do well enough, we'll put them all together and call it an EP. And like,
Sure.
what is? But we just want to release. Um, 6 songs this year. That's my goal.
Nice.
Six different songs. A whole 4 or 5 of them never been, heard by, I never been heard on stage before.
Yeah.
Which is the next thing that I want to do, is a whole bunch of stuff that isn't played for years before we get into the studio and do it the way we want to.
Yeah.
I like the kind of like not knowing what's next part of recording. But yeah, we got sponsored by a couple different groups to do our video. So
Mm.
we just recorded a video, shot a video, I guess, last week, and that should be out in the next couple weeks. And then our next video is already, I guess we have to put the down payment on it, but it's already paid for as well. So at least our next 2 videos are already ready to go. So
I love it.
I'm hoping by June we have 3 songs taken care of and recorded, and then I'm playing it like that way. I'm going to halves. I'm going this. If I can get 3 songs by June, that means I can get 3 songs by December, and
I
then
love it.
but hopefully everything has to play out. It's a lot of work,
Yeah.
and obviously we want things to sound good. So I'm not going to rush that part, but you put a little pep in your step, you can get stuff done. So,
100%,
yeah.
100%. Yeah, I guess like the big question is like what would you feel is like your purpose behind what you're doing with music?
Man, I watch too many TikTok videos, man. So I start wondering what purpose is and
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it really is. But for me, I just always, I mean, for us, obviously, was to, I we never were, I guess, full on like we want to be rock stars as in the old sense of just like that. We want to, the girls and the drugs and blah blah blah. We just
Yeah.
wanted a better life for ourselves because most of us, I mean, all of us in the band had different starts but they weren't like the best of starts, like
Mhm.
they weren't the worst or anything, but I mean, 3 of the guys weren't from America, so they came from and they've built their lives up into and they've got a lot of things now and they've moved
Yeah.
up so much in their lives, and so for us, even like as a band, it's like we hope that it's bigger than our jobs, you know what I mean? Because right now our
Sure, sure.
jobs are like the most important because we all built ourselves up from what we were,
Of course.
and so the next step, I guess the overall step would just be to be more successful and
Yeah.
more people to listen to our music and hopefully make some money off of it. And I guess for me, in my own heart, I always wanted to give my kid an extraordinary life. That's
Mhm.
not as it's fine. We all live normal lives. It's fine.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
but you always wonder, wonder what it's like to be on a tour all the time and take your
Yeah.
family with you because that's the kind of person I most likely would be. Take my family with me and
Yeah.
have my own tour bus. I mean, we're all 37. I don't need I don't need to smell any dude's butts anymore. I don't need to smell farts. Hope so that I'm ready to live like I'm like yeah I'm past that stage.
Yeah.
We spent a night in enough houses in our lives and stayed on enough couches and floors as teenagers and young. We started off I was 16 years old when we started this band and they were
Wow.
all 17, 18, 19, whatever it was. So we did a lot of spend the nights and a lot of togetherness and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's I think if anybody's around us, I think they kind of know that we're very natural together. There's not a
Yeah.
very it's not forced by any means. We get along, and we rip on each other all day. We're never really mad at each other. It rarely happens. Even when we're pissy with each other,
Yeah, yeah.
nobody's ever actually mad at each other, and
Yeah.
we'll just make fun of each other. But for the most part, we get along. I don't even know where that's kind
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
tangent.
No, no, it's
Yeah.
cool. That kind of brings me up to my next question. Like what do you guys like to do outside of performing and writing?
Well, so now that we're all family guys, and
Yeah.
we do a lot of family things. We try to do things together a little bit, but for the most part, um, I do this for music for like the creating process of it,
Yeah.
and then the practicing. That's where we get our hangout. But for the most part, Pablo and JD are brothers, and so and they're in business together, so they do stuff together all day with each other. So they're always together. Steve's in another career, but they don't. There's a lot of hanging out that goes on, but it's more or less family time or just hangout time because they all lead very, very busy. We all lead busy lives.
Sure,
So,
sure.
we were just talking about that last week. Pablo likes to, we were coming back from the video shoot and I said, what do you, he goes, we're different, man. You like to be home when you're off. I'm like, yeah, dude, because I do so much. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and I've built my own, like my paradise at my house.
Yes.
Got my movies, got everything I need. He goes, yeah, dude, but you can be home at all times whenever you come home from work, blah, blah, blah. He's like, when I'm off, I like to go through things. And
Yeah,
but he likes, like right now he's on vacation and he's in San Antonio. But like,
Yeah.
he's always out. He's always doing things. But I love that about our band that we all do have our own life. But like I said, we've been together for so long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That we don't have to, these guys want to hang out. No, it's never that anyway. We're just, like, hey, how does the calendars work? How are we good? We've already hit that level. And I feel like it's going to be funny if we ever make it and we're like a new coming band or something. 'Cause it's like, if we ever make it, and it's like a best new band or anything, it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, I guess. I mean, I'm gray already. I'm like, it's no new band here, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
It's been
yeah.
around for a long time, but like, we know each other so well that there's a lot of things we get to skip now as far as like what other bands would have to do.
Sure.
Where they have to hang out all the time to get to know each other. We know each other so well.
Yeah.
And we're also a messenger group, so we spend a lot of time trash talking each other. I mean, I'd say that's our biggest pass. You know what?
Yeah.
Let's go back to that question earlier. We said, what do you guys like to do when you're not doing band stuff?
Yeah.
Talk shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
All day. Whatever reason, you can't say anything unless something serious really happens.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, dude. And then you kind of like, we say shit now?
Yeah.
Is it clear? Are we cool to say talk? Are we here? That's where it kind of lays. People. A lot of life happens, so bad things do happen to people. But
Right.
but for the most part, everything's fair game, and we just give it a little bit of time. But that's our life. That we just spend a lot of time trash talking.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's fun. It's fun.
Gotta have fun within the group, man. That's what it's all about sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's earlier I said, I think when they're around us, they notice it right off the bat.
Yeah.
It's the first thing that I think everybody who hangs out with us always feels pretty welcomed.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we are on any level we're trying to be anything else. We're just
Right.
the four dudes, and we don't have to sit next to each other. Then we'll sit next to each other. We don't have to make time for it. We just do whatever. And we're always cool. We're always happy to be around each other. We're always happy to. We know that we have when we're together, I think we know the chemistry people notice, and we get that a lot too, especially nowadays when you see a lot. You're going through many years and you're seeing a lot of bands forming, and they're one. And I had somebody tell me that a couple weeks ago. How do you guys do that? I'm like, it's just the years, man. There's no you can't rush through it. It's like your brothers, man.
Right.
It's on a whole different level, and
Yeah.
I would have never thought that would be with the same dudes. I've never been in another band. They've never been in other bands. We just
Wow.
So when we split up for a little while, grew up, got jobs, got kids.
Yeah.
Because we didn't think we had to work. We thought we were gonna make it. So we're like, and then mid-20s hit. And you're like, hold on, man.
Yeah.
I have no money. I got And so you go find. We all got into our respective careers for a while, and then we got lucky. I've always said this, we got really lucky that me and Steven ran into each other at some random gas station. And we say, hey, you want to jam?
Yeah.
Boom. 2-3 months later, Pablo's like, hey, I was thinking about getting Via Linda back. I'm like, dude, we were already doing this, bro. You can come on board.
Hey.
You're not getting anything started. We already been working at
doing
the house,
this.
man.
Yeah.
And then we're like, let's look for a drummer. He's like, well, George, JD, his brother, he's got a studio at our old studio, at our old rehearsal room area.
Yeah.
He's a drummer for another band. I mean, maybe we can. He said he'll play for us for a little while just to help out.
Ooh.
And so and that's literally how it all started with us,
Man.
And then we never officially. JD's not in the band. I'm joking. No, it was always.
I was about to say.
No, I was like that was always the joke, because at first it was just so right that it didn't feel like we were. It wasn't like we were trying anybody out. It just felt like he was. It felt like when we got back together, he was just in the band.
Man.
So that you kind of just wait. Did we ever tell you that you're in the band, bro? So let you know, man, you're in the band. But it felt like but that's being honest with you. We always felt like we grew up with him. Like when the band started, we practiced. We were a garage band. We practiced in the garage of Pablo's house. JD's Pablo's brother. JD used to make our flyers for us when we were 15, 16 years old. When I was in the first couple shows, on the first 2 years of shows, he would draw all of our flyers.
Ooh.
And now he still does. He still makes our flyers. He does all of our artwork. We keep it in house.
Love it.
I always want to just hey, you got Via Linda doesn't always have to be about music, man. It's who we are. So
Yeah.
bring it, man. Just bring it. Just do what you got to do, man. What do you think you should do? And then and then it's at that point where like, hey JD, I have this idea. You think you could do this and this, and then you just draw. Like, yeah, that's cool. And so we're here with them. We don't have to have guesswork. Where you're like, hey, just. That's how it used to be. Like, hey, I don't know, man. Just draw something. Yeah, that looks cool. Now we're kind of give him ideas, and he's so good, and he's so artistic, and he has such a different brain for the rest of them. If anybody ever met him or hung out with JD, our drummer, he's one of those dudes that you go to his house, and you're like, what the hell? This is amazing. He's got game rooms, and he builds his own stuff. Like he's such a woodsman guy. So he craftsman guy, I guess is how I should say it. And everything is in his house is he builds himself to make it, hitting doorways and shit, dude. It's real neat, man. Real cool stuff.
All right.
I love going to his house.
Yeah.
And so, but he's got such a different way of thinking, but he's always thinking, and he's always busy. Always. That's what I love about my band. I love our band, I guess I should say. Guys are hustlers, and they're just
Yeah.
trying to make it. And that's the only, and I guess that's a band. That's how we handle it too. Is like just
Yeah.
trying to make it, man. We're just
Yeah.
gonna hustle, hustle, hustle.
That's it. It's what you got to do
Yeah.
sometimes. When's the next project coming out?
So the next project, I guess that's the single,
Yep.
would be it's called Beast and the Lions.
Mm,
It's a really cool, it's like 80s sounding song, like I was telling you.
mm.
That comes out April 18th everywhere on Spotify. I mean, everywhere that's streaming, I
Right,
guess,
right.
except Pandora, because that takes. I don't know what the hell is up with Pandora. You can't ever get anything on Pandora. I'm not famous enough to be on Pandora. I hope there's, that's a goal for Violinda too, to be on Pandora.
There you go. There you go.
but
I'm going to
that-
put in a good word for you.
Yeah, as of right now, we're not on Pandora. I don't know why we can't do it. Pablo always, whoever's some excuse. I think it's BS. I don't.
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah,
talk
yeah.
to. I gotta talk to somebody. No, I'm joking. But anyways,
Raise the
you
flag
can
here.
find us everywhere under Violinda. We have so many videos on YouTube.
Mm.
We spend a lot of time doing actual videos. We want to do. If you go through watching stuff, it's never just a simple backdrop where us playing. We always want to add different elements and things that are a little bit more fun to catch your eyes. So if you can watch videos on our YouTube as well,
Yeah.
that's the. I mean, I always like that. We have fun with it. Like I said, we're not just music. We're like let's do something different. Let's
Yeah.
make videos. Let's not do the local guys.
Yeah.
Let's expect, like, we grew up with Michael Jackson as a kid, and I always talk about like the making of the Thriller
Mm.
change. I don't know if you ever seen Making of Thriller.
No.
I have it on VHS at home right
Ooh.
now. But Making of Thriller, it's on YouTube and on stuff. But they used to pass it on MTV when I was a kid. But it was just the making of the Thriller, and it was like a special,
Yeah.
and they would just pass it like on syndication. Like you just Saturday 2 o'clock. Making of Thriller.
Yeah.
You're like, well, okay. It's like UPN special, the Monday matinee. But when it would come on randomly, and it was so cool to watch these guys making. Jonathan Landis was the director of it,
Yeah.
and he made so many good movies. And so he did that video, and I remember that always inspired me to go like, man, I just want to make videos like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And so when you're a band like at our level, at our
Yeah.
range, you don't get you don't get the millions to make that video. It takes a little bit more money than what we have. So you get creative. You start thinking of things, and I like and the cheapest way for me at the beginning was always suspense. Suspense is very cheap to do.
Yeah.
Suspense
Yeah.
is build up, and a lot of like, what's next? And that's the cheapest form of excitement for me. It's very
Yeah.
everything else like explosions and stuff. I really want to make a video where we make a video like
Ooh.
where it's like we thought we had the budget, and then like a couple weeks into it, we realized we didn't have the budget,
Uh-oh.
and so and then we released the video as like the green screens don't actually have anything, so you see us running around with the little white balls all over us and in suits, and they got like sticks with people on top. We're like, let's get him, John. But it's just all the actual what it looks like to film a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I love
I
it.
thought that would be a good concept.
It's a great concept. I would love to see that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I just don't feel comfortable in a green suit, so I got to make sure that somebody else feels comfortable. It's real stretchy, man. You get to
Yeah,
see
they are. They are.
You get to see all the curves.
There you go. There you go. Hey. Well, Charlie, thank you so much for being here today, man.
appreciate you, man.
You've been really incredible to talk to, and getting to know Violinda, and all the music that you're working on,
Yeah.
all the things that you guys got going on. I'm so very happy for you guys.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love I love what you're doing too,
Thanks,
man.
man.
I love
Appreciate
I love that we all just work on music. That's what
That's
we do.
it.
That's what we do, man. We got jobs because we have to have jobs.
Yeah.
But if people ask us, what do you do? We work on music. Man.
Yeah, that's it, man.
And I always think that we're really very, very lucky that we get to
100%.
be a part of that kind of community.
100%. 100%. Charlie, where can people find Violinda online?
So you can go to our Facebook and Instagram. That's Violinda Rock, VIALINDA ROCK. And then you can find us on all streaming platforms or YouTube, whatever, under Violinda. It's VIALINDA. It's pretty simple. Like I said earlier, got a lot of music. But yeah, you just type us in on Google.
There you
And
go.
Violinda Music, and then that's it. And then some stuff.
It'll pop right up.
Something's gonna show this
Yes.
face. You're gonna see something with a beard. Yeah, a beard, and then
Yeah, yeah.
and then you're gonna be like, that's the dude I saw.
You got to do it. Got to do it. Charlie, thank you so much for joining us again. And guys, yeah, that just wraps it up with another episode of Powered by Music, where we talk about everything music. And we have a lot of cool stuff coming at y'all. Y'all take it easy.